Shabbat Shalom. Before we begin our service, just a reminder, if you've brought any kind of device with you into the sanctuary that makes noise, to please turn it off at this time so as not to disturb the sanctity of Shabbat services. And also a reminder that if you have a part during the service this evening, we lovingly invite you to remove your mask while you are doing your part, and then we're going to ask you to put it back on when you go back to your seat. If you are uncomfortable removing your mask, please do not feel any pressure to do so. It is by invitation only. As we know, we want to keep everyone safe and everyone comfortable. So when we go into our first oneg, yay, later tonight, I know, woohoo, we're going to ask that everybody please keep your masks on, and we will be serving you, and when you're not actively eating and drinking, to put your mask back on. So, okay, we are doing what we can. Also, you might say, who is that weird person walking around with a camera? He's weird. What can you do? But we asked him to come and to commemorate Carol's special evening. So he will be taking photographs during our service this evening. We want to be putting some more current photos on the website, and who better than you beautiful people? So again, more reason to remove your mask. Also, just if you're in the witness protection program, that would probably not be a good idea to come do your part. So I'm forewarning you now. And also, yes, our service is being streamed and recorded, just so you know that. So now we come to Shabbat, a time of joy, rest, and peace. We are celebrating Shabbat Vayishlach, and we are thanking Carol Meyer for her years of service and celebrating her retirement yet again. Before we introduce our opening song, our congregational poet laureate, Harvey Simpson, wrote a poem to you, Carol, and he has a signed copy for you. And here is his poem. I wanted to wish you well with a verse, so I talked to folks so I could immerse myself in all their thoughts of you, and what they said was certainly true. First, your acts of caring, gentle, kind, not overbearing, focusing on each person's need, helping everyone succeed. Ever devoted to Etz Chaim's domain, with its past and its future in your brain. You kept the place humming day after day in your efficient and orderly way. You've been a boss who's helped underlings grow. Encouragement and confidence is what you'd show, so that whenever they go, wherever they go, whatever they do, they hope they'll always have a boss like you. I also heard a little rumor that you had a sense of humor, which you often used when things looked bad, so they didn't seem so sad. So thanks, Carol Meyer, for being you. We hope that all your dreams come true. And now we begin our service with our singing of Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharim, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
It is my pleasure to invite to the bima to sanctify and bless our Shabbat candles, Howie Meyer.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotov, v'tzivonu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Blessed are you, Adonai, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvah, commanding us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Amen.
Thank you for everything.
My pleasure. We continue in our Siddur, in our prayer book, on page 6, and it is my pleasure to invite forward Ann Stein.
May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May this synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life.
We continue now with the Baruch Hu on page 28. Please rise.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai, HaMemorah.
Please be seated. We continue now with readings on page 32 and 33, and it's my pleasure to invite up to the bima Al Herbach and Laura Piacek.
Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, We will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
As you taught Torah, As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Nice job.
We continue now with the Shema on pages 34 and 35. Please rise.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch shekevod malchuto leolam vaed. Baruch shekevod malchuto leolam vaed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please be seated as we continue with the Ve'ahavta on page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושנתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We continue now at the top of page 39, and it's my pleasure to invite Jack Rabins to the bima.
Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
We continue now with Mi Chamocha on page 40. We continue now at the top of page 43, and it's my pleasure to invite Gail Copen up to the bima.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukkah shalom, aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim.
Continue now with the words that remind us to guard and keep Shabbat Vishamru on page 44.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam, oti leolam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvihi, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat
We come now to our congregational tefillah, which can be found in our Sidurim and our prayer book on page 46. Will the congregation please rise?
Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi te'ilatecha. Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi te'ilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לפני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר, מושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים, אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Will the congregation please be seated? It is my pleasure to invite to the bima at this time Diane Rubicek, Jackie Fain, and Rachel Wood. We continue on page 53.
Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see, wherever we gaze, that the bush burns unconsumed. And we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Blessed is the Eternal One, the Holy God. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat.
Modim anachnu lach she'ata hu Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu le'olam va'ed. Tzur chayenu magen yishenu ata hu lador v'dor. We acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai, our God, and the God of our ancestors forever. You are the rock of our lives and the shield of our salvation in every generation. Let us thank you and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your care, for your miracles that we experience every day, and for your wondrous deeds and favors at every time of the day, evening, morning, and noon. O God, one whose mercies never end, O compassionate one whose kindness never fails, we forever put our hope in you. For all these things, O Sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai, your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulcha na'eh lahodot.
We continue on page 56 with the singing of Ritzeh, followed by a moment of silent meditation.
Adonai Eloheinu, Le'amcha Yisrael. Say, Adonai Eloheinu, Le'amcha Yisrael. Israel, Amecha, Utehi L'Ratzon Tamid Avodat, Israel, Amecha, Ritzeh, Adonai Eloheinu. ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Israel ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav u'ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Israel ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav u'ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Israel ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav u'ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Israel ve'imeru amen.
We find ourselves now at Seder Kriyat HaTorah, our Torah service, which begins on page 244. Please rise.
Ein kamocha Elohim Adonai, ve'en kemasecha. Malchutecha, malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha bechol dor vador. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai imloch, leolam vaed. Adonai os le'amo yitin. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom, v'shalom, v'shalom.
On page 247, in this scroll is the secret of our people's life from Sinai until now. Its teaching is love and justice, goodness and hope, freedom from its gift through all who treasure it.
Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Le'amo Yisrael b'kiddushato. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shmo.
Gadlu l'Adonai iti u'neromema shemo yachdav.
Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, haolam haolam omer. devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, haolam haolam omed. Torah ve'ahavoda ve'al gemilut chasadim. Torah ve'ahavoda ve'al gemilut chasadim.
Please be seated. We find ourselves in the Parsha of Vayishlach towards the end of the book of Genesis. Jacob is preparing to reunite with his brother Esau, whom he has not seen since Jacob stole Esau's birthright. On the eve of this highly anticipated reunion, Jacob wrestles with an angel. And as Jacob and the angel wrestle, the angel asks Jacob, "What is your name?" To which, of course, he responds, "Jacob." The angel goes on to tell Jacob, "Your name shall no longer be Jacob, but Israel, for you have struggled with beings divine and human and have prevailed." With the name change and a boost of confidence, Jacob and Esau reunite and part peacefully, each going his separate way. Towards the end of this portion, we learn that Rachel dies giving birth to Benjamin, Jacob's 12th and final son, and is buried in Ephraim, or present-day Bethlehem. The Torah portion ends with Isaac's death, where we learn that he is buried in Hebron. If you would like to follow along with tonight's Torah reading, it can be found in our Etz Chaim commentaries, which are now underneath your chairs, in these very comfy chairs that we have, on page 198. Ya'amod Baruch ben Hershel v'chaya la'aliyah ha'torah. Page 198.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamavorach.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamavorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amin. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. There we go. Vayishlach Yaakov malachim lefanav el Esav echav artza seir sedei Edom. Vayatzav otam lemor, ko tomerun le'adoni le'esav, ko amar avdecha Yaakov im levein garti ve'echad ad ata. Vayehi li shor v'chamor tzon, va'eved v'shivcha, ve'eshlacha ve'lagid le'adoni limso chen be'einecha. Vayishvu hamlachim El Yaakov lemor banu el achicha el Esav vegam halach likratcha ve'arba me'ot ish amo.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chaye olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. And now, while we have the Torah out in our midst, we take a moment to think of those in our community and our families who are ill and in need of healing. And this evening, we think of Elwood Frederick Bryan, Joan Katz, Kristen Nystro, Lori Johnson, Jim Hines, Richard Vane, Arthur Lang, Heather Borzak, Franny Ein, Kathy Minardi, Karen Mullenkoski, Dick McLean, Quincy Newman, Brooke Ann Godesman, Beverly McHenry, Gary Tatiner, Mark Zellman, Cheryl Hildebrand, Lila Warshawski, Cheryl Ball, John Eulenberg, Label Cohen, Evan Georgie, Bill Green, Rhonda Rhodes, David Menikoff, Stacia Thaman, Carol Pretmar, Jamie Kaznowski, and all who suffer whom we know not by name. Mishaberach avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah hu yivarech v'yirapeh et kol cholei Yisrael v'yishlach lahem bimheira refuah shlema refuat hanefesh u'refuat haguf v'nomar. Amen. We continue now with the words of Mishaberach on page 253. Ya'amod Michael Benjamin Hagba, Ta'amod Masha Bat Ben Sion Veruchel Galila. Please rise for Hagba and Galila.
V'zot ha'Torah asher sam Moshe Livnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe.
Please be seated. It's my pleasure now to invite up to the bima Doug Longman to read our prayer for Israel and Sarah Meyer Mann to read our prayer for America. These can be found on pages 258 and 259.
Or maybe the opposite. It could be the opposite. We're going to have you read that first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You're doing Israel. Yes. Yes, yes.
Okay.
We'll figure it out. O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Help us to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we serve you. Bless our country, that it may always be a stronghold of peace and its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within its borders, health and happiness within its homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship among the inhabitants of all lands, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. We praise you, O God, the source of peace. Amen.
O Heavenly One, protector and redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath your wings of your love, spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the lands and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen.
Please rise as we return the Torah to the Ark.
Etz Chaim hi l'machazikim ba v'tomchecha me'ushar dirachecha darchenu am v'chol netivotecha shalom. Hashivenu Adonai elecha b'nashua kadesh yameinu kadesh yameinu kekedem.
Please be seated. It is my pleasure to invite to the Bima to honor Carol Meyer, Mike Marion, Jack Rabins, and Doug Longmond.
Carol, when you started at Etz Chaim, I was already working in the office, so I worked with you for a long time. I retired in January of last year before you did in June, and then you came back again and are retiring again. I don't know of anyone else who's retired from the same job 2 times. Frequently, when there was a task that needed to be done in the office, you would say to me or Michelle or Adrian or whomever, we need to do whatever it was, and then continue by saying, that's the collective we, meaning you. When I would tell you after asking for time off or to leave early, you are so nice, you would reply, you don't live with me. Maybe Howard could comment more on that one. When I asked you if I could bring my grandson with me to work, from the time that he and my daughter and son-in-law moved back here when Peyton was in 2nd grade, you would almost always have a little treat for him, and would almost be a little upset if you didn't get enough notice to have something ready. You truly care about the people you work with and would do almost anything for us. Carol, you've been a friend when I've needed one. One of your favorite parts of being the executive director of the synagogue was your responsibility for maintaining the facility. So I would like to ask Doug and Jack to join me for a few comments.
Carol, it takes a certain kind of person to work with and maneuver through a diverse community of personalities that we have here and make things work. For nearly 14 years, Etz Chaim has been lucky to have you be that person. You started out as an outsider, replacing somebody that was a temple member for years, but quickly became a part of the family. We're here tonight to honor you for what you've meant to our community, to celebrate our relationships with you, to say shalom to a wonderful person, administrator, co-worker, confidant, and friend. Carol, you will be missed.
Carol, you are a wonderful friend, and I would like to echo the nice things that Mike and Jack have already said. You were always there to help me get meetings back on track, and they always got off track. And then we eventually got our business done. Your patience to sit through our facilities committee meetings after already having a full day did not go unnoticed. However, I did notice that on more than one occasion, I wondered if your eyes were going to dislocate from rolling them so far into the back of your head. Who knew a bunch of guys could talk about plumbing for hours in such colorful detail? Your contributions to the temple, and specifically to the facilities committee, have been nothing short of amazing, and thank you feels like such an understatement. The community wanted to give you something to remember us.
Okay. Now it's time to call Carol up here.
No, seriously, come on up.
Okay. Yep, let me find that set of notes. Okay, Carol. You would always meet us on work days for breakfast, but not come here to work. I don't know why, but we thought about something to give to you, and I want to present to you the first and probably only Golden Hammer Award for your service on the Facilities Committee.
And continuing to recognize Carol's great achievements, we wanted to offer her something that she probably could use more often than her golden hammer. It is a coffee mug acknowledging her membership in the Union of Jewish Handywomen.
So trust me, that hammer, that could have been a lot worse in the ideas that came up at the meeting. I'll reference my previous comment about plumbing. Finally, something to help you enjoy some Carol time in your new life of leisure. We have a certificate here for you to enjoy some time off.
Thank you very much.
Thank you again, and I look forward to hearing many more stories of enjoying time with your grandchildren.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Here.
Oh, my goodness. I don't want the hammer to break the mug. I am so humbled to be standing up here tonight. I never would have believed so many people would be here tonight. So, over 14 years ago, I was interviewing for the job of synagogue administrator. At the end of the interview, I told the search committee if they were looking for someone who was tech savvy, I was not their person. Virginia, you would agree. But if they were looking for someone who gave out warm fuzzies and made everyone feel special and welcomed, I was their gal. I hope after all these years, the members of the committee, Barry Merman, Al Herbach, Bert Cohn, Shelley Miller, and Rabbi Bob, and all of you found that I kept my word. I have loved being a part of this amazing congregation. Through the years, I had the honor of working with so many wonderful people. Our rabbis, Rabbi Koznowski, Rabbi Weiner, Rabbi Camel, and Rabbi Emeritus Rabbi Bob. Our outstanding educators, Ann Stein, Marla Friedman, and Linda Gutchen. Our great song leader, Cindy Michelasi. Our fabulous office staff, Michelle Miller, Adrian Mintz, Mike Marion, Rachel Wood, Nicole Coover-Thompson, Susan Hurwitz, Diane Rubicek, Mike Field, and Debbie Hatz. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention our terrific custodial staff, Marlon Tharp, and our beloved retiree, Herbert Sturkey. Then there are the presidents of the congregation I had the privilege of working with. I think 7 of them. Marilyn Wigder, Al Herbach, Janet Widmeyer, Jacob Margulies, Ken Markwell, Robert Honig, Mike Sawyer, and Jacob Cinnamon Murphy, as well as all the countless exec board members, members of the board of directors, and all the wonderful committees I was allowed to work with. Let me not forget all of you who made me look forward to coming to work every day. When I would talk to prospective members, I would tell them that Etz Chaim was like one big family, and that family takes care of family. That here at Etz Chaim, as a family, we celebrate the good times and get each other through the tough times together. Together we are stronger, braver, and can accomplish anything we set our minds and hearts on. Of course, none of this would have been possible without the support of my family. To my wonderful husband, Howard, of almost 50 years, who was and is my rock, and helped me every year with Purim wine bottle labels, candy bar labels, and Purim Spiel articles for the newsletter. To my children and grandchildren, Amanda and Dan and their kids, Julie and Scott, who are watching tonight, service from their home out in California. To Sarah and Chris, Brad and Tracy and their kids, Sam and June, I love you all so much. I once had a rabbi tell me, actually, Rabbi Max Weiss, who served here as a student rabbi, that, Carol, you need to keep it short. However, 2 last things. First, to Aaron. Are you here still, Aaron? Okay. Let me warn you that you shouldn't miss any of the staff meetings before Purim, or you might end up dressed as a bug with the Beatles, a spider with the Avengers, or a gopher on the Love Boat. And last but not least, Rabbi Koznowski, you have been an amazing boss, teacher, friend, and rabbi. I learned so much from you. I will miss your laugh that always made me laugh. I will miss your thoughtfulness. I will miss your wisdom. I will miss you. Keep it short. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. Thank you for letting me be part of your lives. It's not goodbye. It's until I see you again. Toda Rabbah and Shabbat Shalom.
Stay here. Dorothy with your golden hammer. You just have to wrap it 3 times and you can come right back. You know, Carol, I would be remiss if I didn't teach a little Torah to offset the Facilities Committee's remarks to you. Because last week in the Torah portion, we read the story of how Jacob was in Bethel, and he saw the angels ascending and descending the ladder, and he said, God was in this place, and I did not know it. And sometimes when we work so closely with someone, it's easy to get bogged down by the day-to-day that we don't see the holiness of another individual. But when someone leaves, you see the effects of their presence that lingers on. And what we learn from Jacob's dream is that God is in this place, and it's in every place where you are, even when we do not know it. Of course, everyone is like that, but sometimes we don't see it, and so tonight we acknowledge it, the effect you had on our congregation. And so we take this moment to really appreciate you for all that you've done to enrich our community and for the sacred text that you are in general. The text of Torah is not out here, it's inside you. So while you were saying goodbye, it's really lehitraot, it's goodbye for right now. In your case, it really was goodbye for right. But Aaron, no, you're good. We're going to stay right there. So we might not see you every day, but we hope that you will continue to return to us. And so I'm going to offer this prayer to say goodbye to you, who is not only sacred to me personally, but to our community and our institution. So we wish you only wonderful blessings to you and your family as you go on your way. May you always return to us in health and vibrancy, remembering your inner holiness. We are so truly grateful for you and your contribution and all the time that you have spent with us. Know that you are so cherished by so many, and we will not forget you. And now, I want to invite the entire Meyer family to come up, and all of the facilities committee. We're going to hold a tallis over the Meyer family, and I will bless all of you with the threefold priestly benediction from the book of Numbers. Facilities committee, come on up. Meyer family, stand right here. Facilities committee, take a spot of the tallis. We're going to lift it up over our Meyer family. Yeah, okay. Walk it back, walk it over. Make like a little canopy of peace. You can, yep, there you go. All right, it's beautiful. And I'm going to ask the congregation to please rise. Yiverechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha Ya'ir Adonai panav elecha v'yikuneka Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom v'yasem lecha shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God be kind and gracious unto you. May God's countenance be lifted up unto you and grant all of you the most precious gift of peace. And let us all say together, Amen. Amen. Please be seated.
I love you.
You're so wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, my darling.
May you be blessed as you go on your way. May you be guided in peace. May you
Shabbat Shalom. I'm Joel Spenadel. This is Jacob, my sidekick, and we together are representing the Board of Directors tonight. I want to thank everyone who has joined us for tonight's special Shabbat service honoring Carol Meyer. Just a few announcements. Join us on Friday, December 3rd at 6:30 p.m. for a temple-wide Shabbat service and Hanukkah celebration. Be on the lookout for more information. On Sunday, December 5th at 3 p.m., Congregation Etz Chaim and Oak Park Temple are having a joint Western Suburbs Hanukkah party in Hinsdale. There will be Hanukkah fun and games for all. RSVPs are needed by November 26th. Mark your calendars. Backed by popular demand, Pamela Schuler will be presenting at the Shabbat services on January 21st for Jewish Disabilities Awareness, Acceptance, and Inclusion Month. More information to come. And since I see Jacob back there and back, I want to remind everyone who is a brother that there is a brotherhood meeting this Sunday at 10 o'clock in the library, I believe. So thank you to our rabbis for leading our service, and to Cindy Michelasi for providing the music, and to Jacob for ushering, Ken Siegel for being our greeter tonight. Thank you to everyone who baked or contributed to tonight's oneg. Please know when you go into the social hall after services, there will be 3 tables spread out with treats on them. The same items will be on each table in accordance with our COVID task force guidelines. There will be someone at each table to serve you. Please do not serve yourself. We will ask that you keep your mask on if you're not actively eating or drinking. Next Friday night, November 26th, our Shabbat service will begin at 7:30 p.m. Noah Anderson will be called to the Torah as a bar mitzvah. And now, while I've got the microphone, I want to say a few words about my friend Carol Meyer. Carol, it's been such a pleasure working with you on many matters for our congregation for more than a decade. I strive to someday be that jack of all trades type that you've proven to be over your career, whether as a teacher, a temple administrator, or apparently as a handy person extraordinaire. I've appreciated your good counsel and judgment, so much so that I recently bought the same make, model, trim level, and even color of this car that you purchased a few months before me. And by the way, I'm parked right behind you, so don't take my car. In our time, I prompted you regarding CD purchases, HDMI cables, ABA and DUNS numbers, and codes for GATS and RECs. Thankfully, that last one is for our solar panels, not for our vehicles. Your attention to detail has been unmatched and appreciated. And while I've enjoyed speaking to you on technical matters, it's been our discussions about our kids and your grandchildren that have always been the highlight of our interaction. Your face just lights up when the topic turns to those grandkids. I will miss seeing you in my trips to the office, but hope to see you as a fellow congregant as we together age gracefully. Toda Rabbah for all you've done, and Mazel Tov on all you'll continue to do. Shabbat Shalom.
One more announcement that Joel did not have on his sheet. It's okay. We want to wish a mazel tov to Janice Abelman on getting a new dryer. Mazel tov. It's very hard to come by appliances right now, so very exciting. We are going to begin the conclusion of our service with Aleinu, and it is my pleasure to invite up Michelle Miller and Adrian Mintz to help us open the Ark doors. We are on page 282. Please rise.
Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu kamishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Please be seated.
ונאמר וחיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who have died in this season and in years past. And on this Shabbat, we remember Bernice Goltz-Zitter, aunt of Eileen Landau, Lillian Herback, grandmother of Alan Herback, Morris Mechanic, father of Martin Mechanic, Ruth Rovell, aunt of Merle Ehrlich, Cy Vogler, friend of Etz Chaim, Robert Appel, father of Florence Appel, Gerard Birnbaum, father of Jason Birnbaum, Norman Hockman, father of Amy Lycan, Gloria Levenstein, mother of Paula Butler, Florence Meisel, grandmother of Judith Mindel, Brian Horwich, cousin of Sharon Froelich, Albert Baruch, brother of David Baruch, Elliot Fidlow, father of Barry Fidlow, Michael Hurt, Sr., father of Michael Hurt, Eli Mark, father of Cynthia Mark Hummel, Stanford Menikoff, father of David Menikoff, Joseph Weinstein, grandfather of Craig Mandel, Melaine Meyer, mother of Howard Meyer, Hans Tischler, father of Mark Tischler, Florence Green, mother of Kathleen Green, Devin Nyes, uncle of Kara Kapp, Jewel Popper, mother of Michael Popper, Greg Benario, brother of Howard Benario, Fanny Lux, mother-in-law of Shyla Lux, Paula Marion, wife of Michael Marion, mother of Ben Marion and Amanda Ray Rower, Mervyn Posner, father of Nikki Siegel, Norman Silverstein, father of Edward Silverstein, David Silverstein, grandfather of Edward Silverstein, Art Simpson, brother of Harvey Simpson, Marilyn Blonder, sister-in-law of Ellen Simpson, Thomas Serres, son of Margaret Serres, Jacob Berman, friend of Etz Chaim, Benjamin Carlin, friend of Etz Chaim, and we mourn the recent passing of Maxine Bronson Jason, mother of Beth Tatiner, Norman Weiss, father of Mark Weiss, Tom Hoffman, uncle of Cindy Swanson, Heidi Reed, friend of Albert Miller, Irving Berner, uncle of Rochelle Koenig. Together we rise as one community in body or in spirit, and we turn to page 294 for the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutem, be'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mivarach le'olam u'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasem, V'yithadar v'yit'alev v'yithalal shmei d'kudashah b'richu le'ela min kol bir chata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
V'imru. Amen. V'imru. Amen. V'imru. Amen. V'imru.
Please be seated. We conclude our service this evening with the words of Adonai Oz on page 338.
Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo, Adonai yivarech et amo. Shalom, Adonai yivarech et amo, Shalom, Shalom, Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo, Adonai yivarech et amo.
We will be doing Kiddush and Motzi here in the sanctuary so that when we go into the social hall, we can just go ahead and make a free-for-all for the tables. No, I'm just kidding. So we can just go ahead in. We have some wine and juice, and then we have fresh cookies and fun things for us to eat. But let's sing together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratza b'hanu, v'shabbat kodsho, b'yahavahu ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila, lemikra'ei kodesh, zecher letziat mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta, yotanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat hodshecha, be'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu, baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh, HaShabbat. Amen.
Chaim. And we join together in Motzi. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, b'tei avon.
B'tei avon, everyone. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Let's go have a cookie.
So you can sort of see there's 4 of them in here, and then there's one in my office because it's broken. But you can see underneath, it's like parchment paper,